The phone rang at 2 a.m., jolting Dr. Ethan Hayes awake in his quiet Chicago apartment. "Doctor, these 4 kids have been called mistakes by everyone who was supposed to love them. And if you don't step in right now, they'll be separated forever," the social worker's voice pleaded desperately. Ethan sat up, heart pounding, the weight of those words hitting him like a freight train. He had spent 12 years stitching up broken bodies at Chicago General, but nothing had ever prepared him for the kind of brokenness that came from being told you were never meant to exist. By sunrise, he was at the emergency shelter on the south side, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like angry bees. The 4 siblings sat in a row on plastic chairs, eyes hollow with exhaustion. 14-year-old Sophia clutched her little brother's hand so tightly her knuckles were white. 12-year-old Marcus stared at the floor. 9-year-old Lila rocked back and forth, humming a tune no one recognized. 6-year-old Noah kept asking for his mom, even though she had signed the papers that morning calling all of them my biggest mistakes. Ethan knelt so he was eye level with them. "My name is Dr. Ethan. I'm not here to fix you because you're not broken. I'm here to give you a place where nobody gets to call you that again." The shelter director pulled him aside. "You're single. You're well. You know how this town feels about that. The state might not approve of foster placement." Ethan met her gaze without flinching. "Then I'll fight the state." He signed every form they slid across the desk, heart racing with a fear he hadn't felt since he was 17 and his own father had slammed the door in his face for coming out. By noon, the kids were in his car, small backpacks on their laps, staring out the windows at a city they barely knew. Sophia whispered, "You sure you want us? We're a lot." Ethan smiled in the rearview mirror. "I was a lot once too." That first night, the apartment felt too small and too loud all at once. Noah wet the bed twice. Lila refused to speak above a whisper. Marcus punched a hole in the wall when Ethan tried to set a bedtime. Sophia just sat on the couch watching everything like a guard dog. Ethan stayed up until 4, cleaning, soothing, promising himself he hadn't made the worst decision of his life. When he finally collapsed on the couch, he realized he was smiling for the first time in months. The next morning at the hospital, his colleague Dr. Patel cornered him in the break room. "You took in 4 foster kids overnight? Ethan, you're barely keeping your own head above water." Ethan shrugged. "They needed someone. I was there." He didn't mention the part where the social worker had said no straight couple wanted damaged goods. He also didn't mention how their pain felt strangely familiar, like looking in a mirror he had tried to smash years ago. By the end of the week, the kids had routines. Sophia helped with dinner. Marcus discovered video games in Ethan's old console. Lila drew pictures of houses with big hearts on the doors. Noah started calling him Docky instead of Sir. Ethan felt something inside his chest crack open that he had kept sealed since college. Then the doorbell rang at 7:30 on Friday night, and everything changed again. The man standing in the hallway wore a Navy Social Services jacket and carried a thick folder. "Dr. Hayes? I'm Alex Rivera, assigned to your case. We need to talk about long-term placement." Alex was 32, dark hair, kind eyes, and a quiet confidence that made Ethan's stomach flip in a way he hadn't felt in years. When their hands brushed while taking the folder, neither of them pulled away fast enough. Ethan invited him in. The kids peeked from the hallway like shy deer. Alex crouched down immediately. "Hey, I'm Alex. I hear you guys are pretty tough. Want to show me your new rooms?" Within minutes, Noah was on his shoulders, Lila was showing him drawings, and Sophia was actually smiling. Marcus stayed back, arms crossed, but his eyes followed Alex with cautious interest. Later, after the kids were in bed, Alex and Ethan sat at the kitchen table with coffee. "You're doing something brave," Alex said softly, "but the system is going to test you. A single gay man taking 4 kids? People are going to talk." Ethan met his gaze. "Let them talk. These kids deserve more than whispers." Alex's smile was small but real. "Then I guess I'm on your team." That night, after Alex left, Ethan stood in the doorway of the kids' shared room and listened to their breathing. For the first time in his adult life, he didn't feel alone. But he also knew the storm was only beginning. Monday morning, the hospital board called an emergency meeting. "Dr. Hayes, we support your personal choices, But the optics of a single gay physician suddenly becoming a foster father to 4 high-needs children could affect donor confidence. Ethan kept his voice steady. My personal life has never interfered with my work. It won't start now. He walked out before they could see his hands shaking. At home, Sophia had made pancakes, burnt on one side, perfect on the other. We heard you on the phone last night, she said quietly. They don't want you to keep us because you're gay. Ethan sat down hard. Some people are scared of what they don't understand. But I'm not scared of you four. Marcus snorted from the corner. Yeah, well, we're used to people giving up. Ethan looked at each of them. I'm not giving up. Ever. That afternoon, Alex showed up unannounced with groceries and a board game. The kids attacked the bags like pirates. While they played, Alex and Ethan talked on the balcony. My family stopped talking to me when I came out at 19, Alex admitted. Took me years to believe I could build something real. Ethan nodded. Mine still sends Christmas cards that say, hope you find the right path. They laughed, but the sound was heavy. When Alex's hand brushed Ethan's on the railing, neither moved it. The first crisis came on Thursday. Noah spiked a fever of 104. Ethan rushed him to the ER, his own ER, where the attending physician raised an eyebrow. Foster kids already? You move fast, Hayes. Ethan ignored the jab and stayed at Noah's bedside all night, singing the silly songs the boy liked until the fever broke at dawn. When Alex arrived at 6 a.m. with coffee, he found Ethan asleep in the chair, Noah's small hand still gripping his lab coat. Alex didn't wake him. He just sat across the room and watched with something soft in his eyes. Word spread through the neighborhood. The lady downstairs left a note. We don't need that kind of influence around here. Ethan tore it up and used it for kindling in the fireplace the kids had never seen used. That weekend, he took them to the lakefront. Sophia rode her bike for the first time without training wheels. Marcus skipped stones and grinned when one went 8 jumps. Lila collected shells and arranged them into the shape of a heart. Noah fell asleep on Ethan's shoulder on the train home. Alex met them at the station with pizza. The 5 of them, 6 counting Alex, felt like a family for 3 perfect hours. Then the letter arrived. The biological father, recently paroled, wanted visitation rights. The court date was set for 6 weeks away. Ethan read it 3 times, chest tight. That night he sat on the fire escape with Alex after the kids were asleep. I can't lose them, he whispered. Alex's arm came around his shoulders. Then we fight together. Their first kiss happened right there under the city lights. Gentle, careful, full of every unsaid promise. It tasted like hope and terror at the same time. The hospital gala was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, it became a battlefield. Ethan arrived in a charcoal suit. Kids at home with a trusted sitter, Alex beside him as his +1. Board members smiled tightly. One donor actually asked, so which one is the mother in this arrangement? Alex's hand tightened on Ethan's arm, but Ethan answered calmly, there is no mother. There's just love. The room went quiet. Later in the coat room, Alex pulled him close. You didn't have to do that. Ethan rested his forehead against Alex's. I'm done hiding. These kids taught me that. When they got home, the sitter reported that Marcus had asked if Alex was going to be his second dad. Ethan's heart stuttered. He hadn't let himself imagine that far ahead. The next weeks blurred into a rhythm of court paperwork, therapy appointments for the kids, and stolen evenings where Alex stayed late. One night after the kids were asleep, Ethan and Alex stood in the kitchen washing dishes side by side. I think I'm falling in love with you, Ethan said without looking up. Alex dried his hands slowly. Good, because I already fell. They kissed until the water ran cold. But the biological father's lawyer was ruthless. Dr. Hayes's lifestyle is unstable for minor children, she argued in pretrial motions. Photos of Ethan and Alex holding hands at the lake appeared in the file. Ethan's own parents were contacted. His father refused to testify, but his mother sent a letter saying she prayed for his soul. Sophia found the letter first. Is this why you never talk about your family? She asked. Ethan pulled her into a hug. My family is right here. Lila started having nightmares. Marcus got suspended for fighting a kid who called Ethan a slur. Noah stopped eating until Ethan promised they would never be split up. Each night, Ethan sat on the edge of their beds, telling stories about doctors who fought dragons, Stories where the dragons looked suspiciously like courtrooms and bigoted relatives. Alex helped too, reading chapters from books about brave kids who built new homes. The six of them were weaving something stronger than blood. The betrayal came from a place Ethan least expected. Dr. Patel, his closest colleague, was called as a character witness by the other side. On the stand, she said, "Dr. Hayes is an excellent physician, but his recent personal choices have been impulsive." Ethan sat in the gallery, feeling the floor tilt. Alex's hand found his under the table. "Breathe," he whispered. That night the kids sensed a shift. Sophia made hot chocolate the way Ethan liked it, extra marshmallows. Marcus drew a picture of all six of them under one roof. Lila wrote a note. "We choose you." Noah just crawled into Ethan's lap and refused to move. Ethan cried for the first time in front of them, quiet tears that fell into Noah's hair. Alex stayed over, sleeping on the couch, so the kids wouldn't get the wrong idea. At 3 a.m., Ethan joined him. "I'm scared I'm going to lose everything I just found." Alex pulled him close. "Then we make sure that doesn't happen." They talked until sunrise about the future they wanted. Maybe a house with a yard, maybe more kids someday, maybe just the six of them against the world. The custody evaluator visited unannounced. She watched Ethan help Lila with math, listened while Marcus explained his science project, smiled when Noah called him Dad by accident. At the end, she said, "I've seen a lot of homes. This one feels like love." But she warned that the judge was conservative. Perception matters. Ethan's mother showed up at the hospital the next day without warning. "Your father is sick," she said. "He wants to see you before well. But he says he can't accept this life you chose." Ethan looked at the woman who once rocked him to sleep. "I didn't choose to be gay, Mom. I chose to stop lying about it. And I chose these kids." She left without hugging him. That night, Ethan told Alex, "I think I just said goodbye to my past for good." Alex kissed his temple. "Then let's build the future." Court day arrived with pouring rain. The kids waited in a side room with Alex while Ethan testified. The opposing lawyer asked every question designed to humiliate. "Isn't it true you only took these children because no one else would?" Ethan answered steadily, "I took them because they needed me and I needed them." When asked about his relationship with Alex, Ethan looked straight at the judge. "Alex is the best man I know. He makes me better. He makes us better." The biological father took the stand and cried on cue. "I've changed. I want my babies back." But when cross-examined, he couldn't remember their birthdays. Sophia asked to speak. The judge allowed it. She stood tall in the too big dress Ethan had bought her. "My mom called us mistakes. Dr. Ethan calls us his kids. I know which one feels like home." The courtroom was silent. During recess, Alex pulled Ethan into a quiet hallway. "Whatever happens, I'm not going anywhere." Their kiss was brief but fierce, the kind that said everything words couldn't. The judge deliberated for 3 hours. When he returned, the kids were allowed in. "Dr. Hayes, the court has reviewed all evidence. Temporary custody is granted to you with a path to adoption. The biological father's petition is denied." Noah hooped. Lila burst into tears of relief. Marcus punched the air. Sophia threw her arms around Ethan so hard he staggered. Alex stood back smiling, eyes shining. But the victory was short-lived. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. Someone shouted, "How does it feel to be the gay doctor who stole someone's kids?" Ethan shielded the children and kept walking. That night, the hospital board left a voicemail. "We need to discuss your future here." Ethan tendered his resignation the next morning. The chief of staff tried to talk him out of it, but Ethan was done proving himself to people who would never see him clearly. "I'll open my own clinic," he told Alex that evening. "Somewhere the kids can grow up without whispers." Alex grinned. "I know a social worker who's pretty good at finding grants." They found a small house in a quieter suburb with a backyard big enough for a swing set. The kids painted their rooms. Sophia chose deep purple. Marcus went for blue with constellations. Lila picked every color at once. Noah wanted dinosaurs. Alex moved in 2 months later. No big announcement, just boxes and laughter and the quiet understanding that this was permanent. 1 year later, Ethan stood in the finished clinic, stethoscope around his neck, watching the kids chase each other in the waiting room play area he had built himself. Sophia was tutoring younger patients. Marcus volunteered after school. Lila's drawings covered the walls. Noah greeted every new child with, "Hi, I'm Noah, and this is my dad's place." Alex walked up behind him and slipped an arm around his waist. "You did it." Ethan leaned back into the embrace. "We did it." That night after the kids were asleep, they sat on the porch swing, fingers laced, talking about the future. Ethan finally understood that the family he had always wanted wasn't the one he was born into. It was the one he had chosen to build. True or false? A gay man's open love can create the strongest family for children society once rejected?